Hey, everybody, and welcome once again to Jersey City, New Jersey. It is time for Blitzball Battle 3, presented to you by our friends at Shady Rays. Hop on over to shadyrays.com. Type in the code word warehouse. You're going to get 40% off your next pair of shades. This is the coolest kid in class, Pete Moylan. I am Chris Rose. We'll be joined by Kelsey Wingert and Paxton Elrod as well. And can you believe what we have done to the warehouse for Blitzball Battle 3? Look at this place.
It's unbelievable. It's a new look. It's a new look place. Everything looks a little bit sharper, a little bit crisper. It's good to be here.
All right, so give me a couple of storylines really quickly you're focusing on here in Season 3.
Real quick, I'm going to go with the Plouffe new partnership with Dan Rourke. I'm going to see how that plays out. Defending champion, obviously. And can Jimmy and Jake pick up the form that they had in Blitzball 1? They struggled a little bit in Blitzball 2. I want to see what they're doing here. 16
participants, 8 teams. Let's check them out. The teams have preseason rankings 1 through 8, 50% fan vote, 50% team vote. So you got some egos involved and some bruised egos as well. Let's flip ahead to the postseason party as we take a look at the bracket. Teams that are seeded 1 through 4, it becomes a double elimination tournament as you move to the winner's bracket. The 5, 6, and 7 seed, they head to the losers portion of the bracket where it's one and done. And you're probably wondering, well, what happens to the 8th team? You're gonzo. You're relegated. You're out. You're done.
Check out of your hotel room and get out of the tournament.
Are we moving their flights up and everything?
Have to.
Well, I think that's kind of costly to the company. I don't think it's dollar sufficient and efficient as well.
Jimmy can take care of it.
The point is that every regular season game counts now, right?
Absolutely. It just goes down to the wire. This is exactly what we wanted. We wanted these to count. The interest level starts from game 1. You've got to be locked in. You lose game 1, you are right behind the 8 ball.
A pair of new rules which we think will increase offense because we listened to you in the chat. You said, we want to see some balls fly and we want to see runs put on the scoreboard. You will get that. Because now there are no longer 2 outs per inning, there are 3 outs per inning. But the biggest rule change has to do with the pitching. Both players must pitch every game and get a minimum of 2 outs. So, Joe's McFly, I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
Dan Rourke, I'm looking at you.
100%.
So, I am looking at you.
Yeah.
You have to step up. You have to be a man. If you want to climb the mountain in Blitzball Battle 3, you better show up on that mound.
I thought I was the energy guy.
Sorry.
You're the energy guy now?
I'm sorry about it.
That's fine. That's great. No 3-batter minimum. So you could see there's going to be some strategery in this one. It's going to be amazing.
And you got to get it done. We got some nervous people down there. It is that simple. All right, you're going to go downstairs and hang out with Paxton as you get us ready for Games 1 and Games 2. They're both going to air later today starting at 6 o'clock Eastern. Game 1, oh, it's so spicy out there. You got Lovia's taking on the bosses of Jimmy and Jake and Team Baggage. In fact, Paxton caught up with them earlier today.
Right, and then when you come in, real nice, you know what I'm saying?
Guys,
Oh, shoot. What's up?
y'all good for an interview?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, if you guys could come over here and get you some questions going. That was a little strange. Okay.
We're just working out.
Okay. First question. Seeding's out. You guys are in game 1 of the tournament. You came in at 2nd seed. Right? So how does it feel to not only be voted in this spot by your peers, but also by the fans?
You know, our last tournament, we came in 2nd place, lost to Rotten in the championship, and I think people realize we can make some noise. It was our debut, and now coming back for our 2nd time, we know what it's like. We're grateful we were voted 2nd by both the players and by the public. Now we got to prove them right and even get the 1st spot overall.
Nicky, you said that your biggest threat you were up against was yourselves. How are you mentally prepping going up against Baggage, and what do you think that your leg up is against the other competition?
Yeah, well, I don't think Dalton and I are too concerned with who we play either. If it's game 1, going into the playoffs, the championship when we get there, really the way we're getting prepared is by getting a nice workout, as you guys just saw. And really tonight, normally I'm the big spoon, but tonight I'm going to be the little spoon. And we're gonna really do our best to show up tomorrow happy and ready to play. Just lots of love like we've been doing.
Thanks for your time. Thank you. Yeah, back to your workout, I guess.
Thanks.
Or dance. All right, Pete, how are you feeling just overall about Lovius and how they're going to take on this tournament?
Look, I'll be honest with you. I did predict that they were going to win this tournament.
Yeah.
So I agree with what he's saying. I think they're going to be a good team, quality team. Nicky Cass is a great baseball player.
He is.
Short, but a great baseball player. What he's done is he's learned how to throw a blitzball. So I'm really excited to see what they can do.
I definitely think that their enthusiasm can either go against them or work for them. And I think that overall their team chemistry is incredible. But the interesting thing is that Jimmy and Jake did have some specific things to say about whether or not that was going to work this tournament. Wait, hold the door. We're going to interview, okay? Hey, is that cool? Is that cool? Interviews?
Sure.
What are the holes in the Lovius game?
They don't like each other that much. Like they've been having a rift of friendship.
It's all
a
a
lot.
farce. It's all a farce. They don't like each other.
Interesting.
They go out and they have really healthy dinners, and then they go back to the hotel and they eat like shit. And neither of them know that they're both doing it.
Dalton's look.
Oh, okay. We're attacking appearance now.
Sometimes he's got this like middle school hot kid look, and other times it's a little scary. So I'm interested to see what vibe he's bringing tomorrow.
So first of all, I just have to say, Jimmy and Jake feel a little bitter. I don't know how you feel about those quotes.
I think Jimmy and Jake have got to worry about Jimmy and Jake.
Yes.
Last tournament got away from them a little bit. They've got some things to prove. They were victors in Blitzball 1.
Yep.
Blitzball 3's here. The talent around them has got a lot better. They need to really lift.
Yeah, and I think Jimmy and Jake forget that though they are, some of the creators of this warehouse series,
They own the company too.
and they own the company, it's not always going to work in their favor, but Jake was pretty confident about their overall standings in the future. So with the seeding being released, and you guys are coming in at the 6th seed, how are you feeling walking into game 1 of the tournament?
I feel great. I think it's fair for them to think that. I think after this tournament, there's no way we'll ever be rated lower than 2.
Interesting. Now,
Not one.
okay.
Not one.
Thank you for your time. We'll let you go to your side of the elevator.
Danke.
So Jake was confident with that
That's
statement.
odd for Jake.
Yeah. That I don't know how I feel about that, knowing that they think that they are never going to be lower than 2 when they're 6 now.
I don't think they understand the talent that's been created around them.
That
They've started this event.
They invited
brought them here.
They brought them here.
They've made their bed. Now they've got to lay in it.
Yes, they are. Now, before we get to our next segment, we have a very important message. Shady Rays, these incredible sunglasses, we have an exclusive offer for you. Code WAREHOUSE can get you not only 40% off of 1 pair of sunglasses, but it can also get you access to an exclusive collab pair of sunglasses. Yeah, Jimmy and Jake actually designed some sunglasses. It's insane. So, ShadyRays.com, use code WAREHOUSE, 40% off your first pair, and you can also get access to that collab pair. Thank you, guys. Now let's throw it to Jolly Olive for some stats.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Olive Pit. I'm briefly retiring from the Blitzball battles to bring you the best stats and splits on all of the best teams in Blitzball Battle 3, and what a first matchup we have to kick off the tournament. Baggage versus Lovius, a rematch from Blitzball Battle 2 where Baggage took that game 5-4, but Nicky, Dalton, Jake, and Jimmy, they've been involved in many warehouse games since, so there's a pretty decent sample size for everyone going around. I'm going to read you some of my favorites. Jake as a hitter versus Nicky Cass as a pitcher. Jake is 14 for 19 with 5 doubles, a home run, and 8 walks, and I gotta believe that Nicky Cass will be starting the game for Team Lovius. On the other side of things, Dalton Feely will have to get 2 outs as a pitcher, and against Jimmy, Jimmy goes 4 for 5 with 3 singles, a double, and a walk against Dalton Feely, so there's a lot to like there. Not sure if we're going to see Jake Storiale on the mound this game or whether that'll be in the first or second inning, but I will say recently the long ball has been an issue for Jake on the mound. In the first 3 tournaments, Blitzball Battle 1, 1-inning league, and Blitzball Battle 2, Jake threw 22 1/3 innings and allowed 1 home run. In the last tournament, 1-inning league roulette, 2 1/3 innings, 6 home runs allowed. A big storyline for Jake this tournament. Can he keep the ball in the ballpark, and will that help Baggage take an upset victory over Lovius in the first game? It's going to be a great game. Can't wait to see how it all turns out. We have a really good matchup in our second game of the tournament. It's the 2-time champion Forgotten Rotten taking on a brand new team, Hook, Line, Sinkers. Drew Davis has his 3rd different teammate in 3 different Blitzball battles. I was one of them last tournament. This time he has Dan Canobbio, who's coming off a really good 1-inning league roulette performance. Kind of a breakout for Dan Canobbio. Drew Davis has been here though, and he'll probably be starting this game for his team. And here's a really interesting stat. Against Trevor Plouffe, who just won MVP in Blitzball Battle 2, back in Blitzball Battle 1, Drew Davis struck out Plouffe 4 times in 1 game. Will that history resurface today? Who's to say? Dan Rourke will have to pitch for that team as well, and his 33.3 strike percentage was the lowest of any Blitzball Battle 2 pitcher who completed a full inning of work. So can Dan Rourke throw strikes, and will that be a difference maker for Forgotten Rotten? On the other side of things, Drew Davis is going to have to battle some velocity in this game. He only has 1 career hit in the warehouse against a fastball. The other 3 came on sliders below 60 miles per hour. So that could be part of the Forgotten Rotten game plan when facing Drew. But either way, this is an up-and-coming team versus an established threat. It should be a fantastic game.
Well, once again, Jolly, giving us the best insight in the game. Thanks again for that. Kelsey, you were able to catch up with the 2 teams earlier, right?
Yeah, and what's really interesting heading into Game 1 for Forgotten Rotten and BB3 is the team looks completely different this year. No Vinny, obviously back-to-back champs. He is being replaced with Yankees Twitter great Dan Rourke. Now, how is that going to affect Forgotten Rotten in this tournament? Here they are. Okay, obviously a different looking team as we head into BB3, the defending back-to-back champs, of course, in Forgotten Rotten. But tell me how it changes with no Vinny and 3, and you have Dan now.
Well, I traded in 1 stud for another stud. Look at this physical specimen I have here. I like younger guys on my team. You know, Vinny, I love you. We all know about the allegations. They're really not allegations if they're true. Blitzball 2, a lot of confidence in us. He went and bet on us, which is illegal. He's suspended for this tournament. I heard he turned it into Dogecoin, hit the pop and took it to Macau, and now he's a back rep player. That's what I've heard. We're not sure. But Dan here brings a lot to the game that Vinny couldn't. I think he's got some real velocity there on the mound. And then the power he has at the plate, huge.
All I took from that is that you like younger men.
Well, it's obviously no surprise that Trev does like younger guys. But for me, I think Rourke's got to worry about the swing and miss. He's got a lot of power, sure. He's got a lot of velo, he's got to control that. But it's the swing and miss that I'm concerned about, Kelsey.
Yeah, and they're taking on Hook, Line, Sinker this tournament. A new team. These are 2 guys who have never played together before. It will be very interesting to see how their chemistry will translate in this game. And we were able to catch up with them also and to see just how well they think that chemistry is coming along. Alrighty, guys, big game as we enter into BB3 here. You got Forgotten Rotten in the first game of the tournament for you guys. But how is the team chemistry for you 2, having never played together?
Team chemistry strong. I've texted Drew a few times. I wanted to FaceTime him. I forgot. I'm sorry about that. Okay. But he got to the hotel. We talked a little bit. He was at the office earlier in the week. He got to see how we worked. He was sitting at my desk before I even got there. So right there, he knew. So I would say the chemistry is strong.
He's been keeping me on a strict diet just to make sure that we're both ready for this, and it's been good.
He did eat some buffet salmon on Monday that I was not made aware of and not happy with, but we've regrouped. We forgot about it. We're good.
So having really just exchanged a few text messages and you being in his desk, you 2 seem to be very comfortable together, so that's very good. Okay, Forgotten Rotten looking significantly different in this tournament. Obviously back-to-back champs in BB1, BB2, but no Vinny. This tournament, you now have Dan replacing him. So what is the pitching strategy for you guys with the new look of Forgotten Rotten?
Well, you know, I don't want to say they got better, but I don't think they got worse with the addition of Dan. So we're not taking them lightly, that's for sure. But I think, you know, Dan said it perfectly earlier. We're not married to the strategy. We're just going to go based off feel. I think we both feel good.
Yeah, Drew's 15 years younger than me, right? He's the horse. I come in, I got the left arm. It's just about how many bullets do I have in this arm. I need to persevere until the end of the weekend. That's kind of our strategy. But also have fun, because we're playing Blitzball.
Yeah. So besides having fun, what do you guys think is the key for you for a Game 1 victory?
Scoring runs.
That is constant.
Scoring runs.
Scoring more runs than the other team.
I mean, what a concept. Alrighty, guys. Thank you both so much. I appreciate it.
That is absolutely no surprise. Last time we were here, Drew was eating chicken out of a can.
So bad.
So we got to keep that under control, otherwise he might be throwing up, shitting. We don't know what's going to happen in this tournament.
Would you ever eat salmon from a bodega?
I'm not a salmon guy. I've never been to a bodega, but I'm trying anything.
I don't know about that. Okay, so we've already heard the pitching strategy from one team, but now I think we need to hear the pitching strategy for this big game for the other. What is y'all's pitching strategy headed into game one of this tournament? Which one?
Well, I think we're going to probably follow Plouffe's lead on that, I would say. I feel confident pitching. My stamina's not as good as his, I would assume. But here's the thing. They were able to win back-to-back titles with Vinny Rotino. I consider myself having ascended to at least his level. So that being the case, I think we're going to get back there.
And you are younger. Hook, line, sinker has some good talent there. You have Dan, you have Drew. What are y'all's thoughts before entering into the first game of the tournament against them?
Well, you've got Dan, who's like their best hitter, and then Drew, who's basically a PO, which is a pitcher only. So I think that might be our strategy. I pitch to Dan, you pitch to Drew. But I think that,
I like that.
They're kind of like a stepping stone.
Yeah, I played with Drew a few times and all that, so I know his arsenal. So, not worried. Not worried about any opponent we play.
Okay, we got to get into predictions for game 1 and 2. Where's your mind at with both of these matchups?
I am going to have to go. Look, I picked Loviers to win the whole tournament, so I got to go Loviers, obviously. Mm-hmm. And it pains me to say this, but I've got to go Rotten game 2.
I agree with you on game 2. I definitely have Rotten. I think having Dan Rourke might not be great depending on the matchup, but I do think Trev is going to be able to carry that team. Now, I actually have baggage for game 1. They have been practicing a lot secretly on Saturdays, and I'm hopeful.
Just called them out in front of everybody.
I did. Okay. I did. I don't care. They announced it. I don't care. So those are my matchups, but Pete, you got to get back up to the booth. I got to get down to the field, so toss it back up to you.
All right, I'm actually just like Pete Moylan, who will join me in the booth later tonight. I've got Loviers taking game 1. I've got the 2-time defending champs winning game 2, but you'll have to tune in for all the action. So first pitch at 6 o'clock Eastern. That's Loviers and Team Baggage, immediately followed by Forgotten Rotten and Hook, Line, Sinkers. I'll be joined by Pete Moylan. We'll see you with Paxton Elrod and Kelsey Wingert as well. We cannot wait to bring you Blitzball Battle 3, presented to you by Shady Rays. We'll see you then.